Hello, welcome back to Homeschool Wherever. My name is Carmen Sognonvi, and in this video, I am going to be tackling a question that a lot of families are probably asking themselves right now, which is, should we pull our kids out of virtual learning and homeschool them instead? So the reason I feel qualified to make a video about this is because our girls have experienced in-person public school, virtual learning public school, and now homeschooling. So basically up until this year, our girls were in public schools here in New York City. And we had actually decided pre-COVID already to transition to homeschooling our girls this year. But then the pandemic happened, and so from March to June of 2020, our girls were doing virtual learning through their public school. So I got to see firsthand how challenging that could be. And since September, we've been homeschooling them, so I've been able to see what that is like as well. And let's just say that I have some strong opinions, so if you're curious to learn what those are, keep watching. So I've previously done a video that compares the pros and cons of homeschooling versus public school. I'm gonna link that down below because it's a video that you should probably watch. So the thing that's crazy about virtual learning is that it's kind of like you're taking all of the cons of homeschooling with none of the pros. No, seriously, I'm gonna go over all of the cons of homeschooling, and all of these ring true for virtual learning as well. First is, you have no childcare anymore. For many parents, especially working parents who have jobs or businesses that they run, having a place that their kids could be safe at, 6, 7, 8 hours a day was very, very beneficial. With homeschooling, you don't have that anymore. And same with virtual learning. The second con of homeschooling is that it takes up a lot of your time. And I found that to absolutely be the case with virtual learning as well. Even though my kids are a little bit older, when we were doing virtual learning, one was in 2nd grade and one was in 5th grade, I found that they needed a lot of hand-holding. So it definitely wasn't the kind of thing where I could just switch on the computer and let them go and they could just do their thing for the whole day. I really had to be there to help them. Another con of homeschooling is that you don't get any breaks from your kids. And again, the same is true for virtual learning. You guys are together all the time. And even though all of us, I think, have adapted a little bit to that, because of being in lockdown for so long, it's still definitely a con. Another con of homeschooling is that you miss out on the expertise and skill and hands-on experience of really great teachers. Now with virtual learning, technically they are there, right? Like they're on the screen, but we know it's not the same as if they were in a classroom. So your kids are not getting the full benefits of that teacher's expertise. And another con of homeschooling is that it can be a thankless job. And again, same with virtual learning. Because you as a parent have to be so hands-on, it takes up a lot of your time. And it's not like your kids are like, oh my God, mom, dad, thank you so much for assisting me with this Zoom call today. Like, you're not getting that kind of gratitude. Instead, they're probably just grunting disapprovingly at your assistance. So that's another con. By the way, if you're new to this channel, we are a multiracial secular family living in New York City, and we are homeschooling for the first time this year. We have 2 daughters, Sean, who's this year in 6th grade, and Ella, who is this year in 3rd grade. We're really passionate about using travel to bring our homeschooling lessons to life. This channel is all about documenting our homeschooling journey, so if that sounds of interest to you, I hope you'll subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. We're also full-time family travel creators, so if you want to learn a little bit more about that side of our lives, check out our travel channel at Top Flight Family. Okay, so I've talked about how many of the cons of homeschooling are the same cons that you see with virtual learning. However, when it comes to virtual learning, there is one con which is the biggest one and the most important one of all, which is that, from what I could see, it's just not effective. Now, it's not that I don't believe in online learning at all. I definitely think that online classes can be beneficial. We personally haven't done a ton of it yet in our homeschool, but I know many families who do incorporate online classes into their homeschooling and they see great results from that. The problem is that traditional schools are really experts at in-person education, and they're not experts at online pedagogy. So they just haven't really figured this out. And sure, what I saw in terms of virtual learning from March to June may have been sort of the worst of the worst, since they were literally like scrambling to put that together in just a week or two's time. And hopefully, having had the summer to do more planning and training of teachers, what is happening now in terms of virtual learning is hopefully better than what we were seeing in the spring. But then again, from what I'm hearing from a lot of families and parents, it doesn't seem like it's gotten that much better. A lot of parents are concerned that their kids are falling behind academically, and they're probably right. If I'm gonna be blunt, out of all of the options available to families right now, I honestly think virtual learning is the worst choice. If you have the option to do in-person classes and you feel confident that your school is handling that safely, I would say in-person classes are gonna be way better than virtual learning. But if you don't have the option of doing in-person classes, or you don't really feel confident that it's safe enough for your kids right now, I would highly recommend homeschooling over virtual learning. We switched from virtual learning to homeschooling this September, and I can tell you that the vibe has changed so much. Things are so much more relaxed. My kids are happier. They are actually absorbing information. They're learning. And I really didn't see a lot of that during the spring when they were doing virtual learning. So from our family's personal experience, I can tell you that homeschooling has been far superior to virtual learning through their public school. Now, one of the questions that I see a lot is, well, what if I want to put them back into public school next year? If that's the case, I still think homeschooling is a better option than virtual learning. Because let's be real, with virtual learning and how badly it's going, all kids are going to be behind this year. They're going to have to lower their standards across the board. So if anything, your kids may actually be in a better position than their peers who are doing virtual learning. I strongly believe that even if you are the world's worst homeschooling parent, your kids are probably going to be learning more from you than from their virtual learning classes this year. So even if you consider yourself a COVID homeschooler, you're planning to send them back to school next year, that's fine. I still think homeschooling is the better option this year. And one of the reasons is that there are so many pros to homeschooling, which you don't get when you're doing virtual learning. As I mentioned before, with virtual learning, you get all of the disadvantages of homeschooling without any of the advantages or benefits. So if you start homeschooling, here are some of the benefits you can expect. 1, shorter school days. Homeschooling kids only takes a few hours a day because you're eliminating all that fluff of taking attendance and organizing the classroom, assemblies, all of that wasted time. So the school days are shorter, which also means that kids are usually happier. The second is total freedom to learn what you want. With homeschooling, it's great because you can actually tailor what you're learning to your kids' interests. That's not something you can do with virtual school. The third advantage of homeschooling is that you have the option to bring your learning to life through creating experiences for your kids. So whether that's doing something virtual, like taking a virtual tour of a museum, or if museums have reopened in your area, taking a field trip in person to a museum, or if you feel comfortable traveling at this point the way we do because we've put in so many safety procedures when we do it, you can also use travel as a way to support the things that you're learning. Another advantage of homeschooling is that you're able to work at your own pace. If your kids need help in a certain subject, you can slow the pace down, give them more time to work through those problems. And conversely, if your kid is a total genius in another subject, let them go crazy and let them speed ahead multiple chapters at their own pace. Another benefit of homeschooling is there's no more teaching to the test. Even though some states do require you to do standardized testing at certain years during your homeschool, typically they only require that you actually take the test. They don't have any minimum grade that you have to hit in that test. And that means that you don't have to spend the whole academic year teaching to the test the way a lot of schools have to do because there's so much emphasis on standardized testing. And then one of the biggest benefits of homeschooling, in our opinion at least, is that you get to do it anywhere. And of course, that's the concept behind this channel name, Homeschool Wherever, because truly you can do homeschooling from wherever. So if you decide you want to do a staycation in a hotel in your hometown, you can bring your homeschooling stuff with you and do it from there. If you're going to go camping, you can homeschool from the camping grounds. It's super flexible, and now suddenly you're location independent, at least when it comes to school. Now, if I have persuaded you and you're interested in looking into going down this road of homeschooling, I would highly recommend that you check out this video that I'm going to link down below, which is tips for beginner homeschoolers. And in this video, my friend Valerie and I both share our advice to new homeschoolers. And the cool thing about this video is that you see it from both perspectives. Valerie is a seasoned homeschooling parent. She's been doing it for multiple years. I am brand new at this, so I come at it with a fresh set of eyes. And you get to hear from both of us what we think is important to know if you're new at homeschooling. Okay, if you would like to learn more about the pros and cons of public school versus homeschool, just click there and watch that video. If you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Homeschool Wherever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.